Hey there, Mike here again. Thanks for coming to my channel. Today, hopefully it'll be a really short video on how to make your air compressor run easier, so it's not as much stress on it. Make it run faster as far as filling up your tank, and a little bit quieter. Stuff that I think we all would want. Now, it all has to do with the air, because just like a car, you know, the car has air coming into the fuel system and it mixes, and that's what gives you power. The only difference on an air compressor is that air is actually being used to be compressed and go on and fill the tank so you can use it. But the thing about the air is it's being restricted, and we all know that. Here's a typical filter, air filter, and if you just, you know, play around, you can even try, just blow into it and suck into it, and you'll feel that there's a restriction. And it doesn't seem like much of a restriction, but if you take out the filter and try it again, you'll notice there's a big difference. Well, obviously we can't take the filter out because that would put dirty air in. That'll hurt your flappers or your pistons, depending on the kind of compressor you have. But by doing that little test of blowing through it, you realize that more air could come through if you allowed it to. So what I did, and I will show you here in a second, is I took this and I put 2 of them on it. So where this normally would screw in, I had a Y, could go with a T, but I went with a Y to give me a little bit more space. But I have a male to 2 females, and I screwed 2 of these into it. And the results, I didn't think they'd be much, but actually it did a lot. Now, I did this over a couple-hour period because I didn't want you to have to deal through it. But with the one filter, I filled it and timed it, drained it, let the whole compressor cool down to ambient temperature, did it again, same thing, emptied, ambient temperature, filled it up again, and it averaged out for my little 20-gallon compressor about 5 minutes and 59 seconds. One time was 5:58, one time was right at 6 minutes, so average 5:59. Then when I put in the Y connector and the 2 filters so it could get more air, all 3 times, almost on the dot, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. And that's almost a 10% decrease in fill time, 8.333% if you want to be exact. But what that's telling you here is that not only does it fill up faster, but that means your compressor is working easier. It's not working so hard to fill up that tank. And also, it means it'll last longer. It won't be as stressed out. Also, the noise. I measured it about 3 or 4 times each time, and I just wanted to check it. I don't want to do that again with you because that'll take forever. But with just the one filter, my noise meter, granted, it doesn't matter how accurate it is. What matters is that I kept it in the same place every time, measured it every time, and saw the difference every time from the same conditions. I was reading on an average of 77 dB, and I was like 2.5 feet away from it, sitting on my table next to the compressor. Then with the 2 filters on it, it averaged 74 dB. Now, 3 dB isn't a big change in noise, but one thing I did notice was the tone, the frequency. It wasn't as high, it was a much lower noise, which is a lot easier on your ears, easier to handle, sound better. You know, it's more of a lower instead of a, you know, it's a lower tone. So I don't know if that makes much sense, but it is definitely a little bit quieter. But that wasn't the main reason. The main reason I did this was it started off as an experiment because I've been working on my car. And if you look at some of my other videos, one is with direct air, meaning get rid of that whole air box filter system that you have on my truck. And I went with a straight pipe that a lot of people do, or direct, like a direct air. The main reason for those big pipes, on a side note, or big box in your car, is mostly to muffle and lower the noise. but it does restrict air going in there. So I was experimenting, and I thought, let me try it on this. So anyway, by knowing that this pipe, the fill pipe, could handle more air than it was getting, I was thinking, well, what if I gave it more air? And obviously I could have put on maybe a bigger filter, but then you have to be careful because of it hitting the covers and the pieces of your compressor. It may not fit right. But with these, I figured with the Y coming out, and I put 2, and I'll show you all this in a second, I knew that I could get at least as much air as this thing could take. Could I get even more in there? I don't know. Maybe I could, but I do know by doing this, still getting good filtered air, but it's getting more air because it can take more. It runs faster, filling it up time, which means the pistons in my case and everything is running smoother, less stress on it. And even the refill time, I did that about 4 times each. With one, I'd let out the air after it cooled down, I'd let out the air down to 95 PSI so it would automatically kick back in. And from that 95 to max where it would shut off was 1 minute, 25 seconds. With the 2 filters, I repeated it numerous times, it was 1 minute, 15 seconds, a 10-second drop in time. And that actually comes out really close to the 8 point something percent, about 8.8% less time to fill it up. So all these numbers have been done over and over and over again for consistency. And you get more air, which means it compresses faster, which means it fills up faster. So let me go show it to you, and I hope this really helps out. And again, while I'm showing you, before I forget, make sure, if you can, subscribe to the channel. Check out my other ones. I have a few more videos on air compressors. But I think this is actually a really good, cheap fix. 2 of these on Amazon are $8, $4 a piece. Whether you get the 3/8 or you get the 1/2 inch, doesn't really matter, whatever you need to get. If you have a different kind of air filter, just use this same concept and think it through, and you could probably do the same thing on yours. Like I said, find out how much of a restriction you're getting, even if it's just a manual blow test like that, and realize, yeah, it does restrict, so what if I give it more? So let me go show you how I have it set up, and catch you in a second. Here we go. The only thing you really have to worry about is what you see in front of my thumb. The 2 air filters and that Y. These are 1/2 inch filters with a 1/2 inch Y, male and 2 females. Thread it back in. On Amazon, those air filters, like I said, were about 2 for $8, and that T was about $6. So for $14, you're done. If your air filter uses a 3/8, then just get the 3/8 filter and a 3/8 T or Y. Now mine's a little different because I have an adapter and a reducer, because mine was a 3/8, but I happen to already have these on hand for another compressor I have. So all I did was buy this, but then I had to make a reducer to get it down to 3/8 to go in. You don't have to worry about that. I mean, 3/8 is my input. That's the max air it could ever take. So I'm not getting any more by having 1/2 inches here. If I went and just put 3/8 with a 3/8 T and got rid of this adapter reducer, I could just plug it in. It'd be the same results. I'm not gaining anything with the 1/2 on my compressor. But like I said, that's all it takes. I mean, there's not much to it. 2 of these, $8. This is about $6. $15, Amazon, you're done. And thread it in, and these come with the filters already in there. Now, one thing I will show you, if you care. This only came with 1 hole in it, but I wanted to replicate with this single filter that I had, which had 3 holes in it. So I went ahead and drilled 2 other holes in it. It's not a big deal. I mean, you know, it's the same kind of a cartridge. And but I wanted to make sure I was comparing apples to apples, oranges to oranges, and not apples to fuel injectors. So I put in the 2 extra holes. You know, drill bit doesn't, it's not like it took any time. But anyway, like I said, $4 a piece, $4.50, something like that. Another $6, you're done. Well, I hope this helps. Yeah, so like I said, I hope this does help. If you want to subscribe, check out some of my other videos, whether they're on compressors or if they're on my cars, or I got them on welders, plasma cutters. It's a DIY channel. I have all sorts of crap in there. But anyway, like I said, for the simplest of modifications, but the thing I like about it the most is it fills it up faster, which means the most important to me is that it means that compressor is not working as hard. It's being able to suck in more air and compress it quicker. And that means those pistons and flappers, they're not working as hard. That means that compressor is going to last that much longer. How much longer? I don't know. But it is working less. There's not as much stress on it. Fills up to the same PSI. Everything's the same. On my tank, it's a 135. But I love that part. The noise, yeah, it only reduced it by about 3 dB, but I like the tone. I like how much quieter it is as far as easier on the ears. So anyway, check out my other videos, check out stuff. Subscribe if you want, and you have a good day. God bless. Take care.